The Arizona Cardinals haven't won a division game all season long, and they're going to have to do it without Marvin Harrison Jr., without Kyler Murray, of course, without Will Johnson, a long list of who's unavailable, but who is available. Can they get it done against the hated Niners, and how many disgusting 49er fans are going to be at State Farm Stadium today? We're breaking it all down. Pregame into our watch-along right now. It's PHNX Cardinals.
Welcome in live from Studio K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier, #1 in the world Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe, friends. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Thanks for sticking with us despite this horror show of a team. Maybe they can turn it around today. I'm Johnny Venerable, of course, my co-host, Bo Brock. He's joining us today. He's ditching the team. He's with us in studio. We are so blessed. Noah Man behind the mic. Fired up here on this NFL Sunday. Hit that like button, and of course, subscribe, Bo, to PHNX Sports.
That's right. PHNX Cardinals brought to you by friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass. You do you. Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playathila.com for all the details. Yeah, Alex is like, what was up with that lackluster live? I hope that's not a tone setter, Johnny.
That's what they get right now. You get what you deserve. And with this team right now, I need to be resuscitated into believing that they can get it done today. The Cardinals, an unfortunate 3.5-point home dog against Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. There are outlooks in the NFL right now that are promising, and then there are outlooks like the Arizona Cardinals where this is trending more and more into certainly the fan base, the greater Phoenix population. They want significant changes. This is a game for Jonathan Gannon where you have to quiet that noise. Like, vibes be damned, player development be damned. Go out and out-coach Kyle Shanahan today. Show us you can do it.
Not an easy task at all, but absolutely. I mean, when you look at the Niners, they've gotten some players back since the last time they played, including, their quarterback's going to return in Brock Purdy, and we'll see what that looks like compared to how it has with Mac Jones, who was the last QB in the lineup when the Niners were victorious, sickeningly enough, against the Cardinals in Santa Clara a couple weeks back. That really kind of started this whole brutal trend for the Redbirds.
Yeah.
But, Kittle's back. McCaffrey has somehow stayed healthy enough.
Kudos to him.
Trent Williams, as Jonathan Gannon called him, a giant dancing bear. Very, very complimentary of some of those offensive pieces. And there wasn't much offense to muster. It was Mac Jones and Ricky Pearsal who's good to go. Can the Cardinals, with some additions on the defensive side of the football, combat that? It's not going to be a home field advantage. I'd be shocked if they're not, on a silent count offensively, the Cardinals this game. It's just they have to weather the storm. They have to keep their head above water. All the cliches, all the sayings, find a way to win.
Yeah, and here's where I'm at. Let's touch on the fan base here, because you mentioned it in the home open. I was very much last year on the side of, hey, they're winning and they're performing well at home. Do yourself a favor, this franchise, go support the team at State Farm Stadium, right? That made sense. They're playing well, they're playing hard, they have clarity, they're developing guys. Go support them. I'm always going to be in that camp. And while I'm never somebody who would sell my tickets if I had season tickets, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for them now. That you reap what you sow. They wanted to create a home field advantage. Well, part of that is you have to win games, right? You can't be dormant. They're 3-12 versus the NFC West, dating back to when JG took this job, right? They're an embarrassment this year. You reap what you sow. And it's unfortunate for the players. A lot of the players today that we'll see, like Trey, McBride and company, Paris Johnson Jr., they're playing well. They should be on a winning program. But for Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing and Nick Rollis and Monty Ossenford, you made your bed. When you suck this badly, when you put on this kind of product at home or away, your fan base, 35-0 in the second quarter, they're going to tune you out, right? Yeah. And they're going to tune into, hopefully, in their mind, a new regime. So I'm disappointed about the amount of 49er fans, but it's like I said a couple weeks ago, Bo. After they lost to the Packers and I saw Packer fans celebrating in downtown Glendale around the stadium, I'm just like, this is the quickest way you're going to lose me. Is like, we want this town to be enthralled like they are with the Suns right now, like ASU, like U of A yesterday, with Cardinal football. You have to meet us halfway here. You have to give us a product that's worth shelving out money for.
Right. I mean, Arizona State, it's a great example because I think of weeks ago when Sam Leavitt is basically ruled out for the entire season.
Yeah.
And they suffer a bad loss. And everybody's like, well, you can just pack it in for the Sun Devils season. And what do? Them and Jeff Sims, they show signs of life. They go and get a big win. And then they follow it up with a couple other big wins. The Arizona Cardinals haven't done anything to make Arizona Cardinals fans proud outside of the Dallas performance. And that's like the outlier right now.
Yeah.
Right now, we've seen bad performance, them come up short, find ways to lose to the hapless, rudderless Tennessee Titans who can't get right against any of their other opponents, but found a way to beat the Cardinals. You can't be that team that even in when the any given Sunday cliche doesn't even factor in. Like, you have to show, like, hey, the pieces that we've built, that we've kind of gotten along the way since 2023, like you mentioned, Paris Johnson Jr., Michael Wilson's going to have a big role today. B.J. Ojulari's making his return in some capacity. You got to show, like, these guys that you view as foundational pieces can be enough to win even when the adversity is stacked up against you. It's just now it's necessary. Now, like, the losses that you've sustained up until this point have just backed you into this corner where the only thing people will accept and will kind of get people back on board is a win and then following up potentially with another win. But until you get to that dub, people aren't going to matter. They're going to tune it out.
Let's take a look at our pre-flight inactives today here on PHNX Cardinals. Do us a favor. We stay winning because of all of you. Hit that like button and click that join button. Become a member today. Let's take a look. Inactives, no big surprises. Some unfortunate absences. Highlighted earlier this week by the appendectomy surgery, or appendicitis surgery, of Marvin Harrison Jr. We're week to week with this. He could be back next week. It could take multiple weeks. We just don't know, but he is definitely out today, as is starting corner Will Johnson. Feels like they've shut him down for 2 weeks, maybe to reevaluate next week. Hopefully he's back in action. Baron Browning, who has not played well recently, out with a concussion. Robert Taylor Demerson, sneaky out. Contributor, leads the team with 2 interceptions. And then Jonah Williams out with a shoulder. Bilal Nichols, DeMontre Jacobs, what have you. But Jonah Williams in particular, Bo, with all due respect, I don't have any interest in seeing him play another down for this team. I actually think Kelvin Beachum is going to play well today. I think that the offensive line will look better as a result. Addition by subtraction there. It's not a knock on the person. Just he has been one of, if not the worst right tackle in the NFL. I'm done with him.
That's fair. And everybody's kind of getting their wish to see Kelvin Beachum get thrust into it in a role that he was consistent in last year. He played that right tackle spot in place of Jonah Williams, who dealt with injuries throughout the season. So can he kind of continue to fight off, block out Father Time, who outside of like Calais Campbell and Tom Brady's undefeated in this league, right? So Kelvin Beachum, and we'll see how they maybe supplement that with Beach sliding from, being the 6th offensive lineman that's been in there as an eligible lineman. Who's going to play that role? Is it going to be a John Gaines? Are they going to bring in a fullback? Is it going to be like Josiah DeGura? We'll see. I mean, they're going to have to do it because the offensive line has just been so poor, Jonah Williams or not. That's going to have to be something that, in order to subdue the 49ers and give Jacoby Brissett enough time to make those plays that we've seen downfield happen. So, yeah, it's kind of the most plug-and-play inactives we've seen all season just because of the injuries. Because we knew Marv, because we knew Mac, who we told you, significant injury, expect him to go on IR. He is. Now it's Cody Simon's job. You have Will John. Like, everybody was basically ruled out, and it's like, you got poor Bilal Nichols is a healthy scratch, apparently.
See ya. Let's jump into the Pregame Blitz here on a PHNX Cardinals.
Too many healthy defensive linemen, which is a good problem.
Yeah, pregame show. We're going to get to the D-line here in a second. Let's start with that wide receiver group, which is a little bit of a wasteland. Marvin Harrison Jr. out. Semi Fioco out. Popped his Achilles, or no, excuse me, Semi Fioco's got an ankle. No, that's not right.
Broke his arm.
Broke his arm, excuse me.
But he did post, you're talking about, he posted on social his bum ankle.
He's got a bad ankle. Poor Semi Fioco, but he's getting paid.
He got ratioed on social media because of his toes.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned it, it's like, hey guys, I broke my arm. And people are just like, but what are those? And he's sitting there talking about his little piggies.
And then, of course, Zay Jones popped his Achilles. So here's the battery for today. Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Xavier Weaver, and Wetbo. Andre Bocellia, who has been was a Cliff Kingsbury disciple and has been in and out of this organization for the better part of half a decade. And then a whole lot
of part of 30-plus transactions with this team.
Solid.
It's like you're on the practice squad. You're on the active roster. No, you're cut. You're on the practice squad again. And it's just that vicious cycle continues as I see that. Maybe talked about just the Cardinals way in general, but Bocellia, 4 healthy active receivers in this game.
People are asking, Dingo asking if Britton Golden is playing. Is that why he's not watching along today? Can't confirm or deny. That'd be awesome to see BG out there.
He said, hey, just get your pads, get your old jersey. It doesn't even match the current ones, but just show up. And then maybe see if you can get in there, return a punt, do something, and contribute.
In all seriousness, you and I may have placed a wager before the show. Michael Wilson, you can get plus money with our friends at Bet365, over 60 yards receiving.
Yeah.
Feels like that's a mandate to have success today. It's really unfortunate that Marv is out for a couple different reasons, especially like this secondary for the Niners stinks.
Mm-hmm.
The back seven is not the same, even as it was earlier this season when the Cardinals lost at Santa Clara. So I expect Michael Wilson to play well. Greg Dortch always plays well.
Yeah.
Where the Cardinals are going to get into trouble in this game is if they can't run the ball effectively on second and first down. Marv was very much an equalizer for those third and longs with Jacoby Brissett, and that is gone now. As much as I like Greg Dortch, like he's not that kind of player. He's more of an underneath kind of gadget player, or at least that's what this regime has turned him into. Elijah Higgins, Trey McBride, I think are going to get a lot of targets, rightfully so. Michael Wilson, but man, I think for the people who are a little bit lukewarm on number 18, I do think you're going to feel his absence today.
Yeah, no, I think that's unfortunately true, and you're not asking the people who are going to be behind him on the depth chart to fill his role. That would be unfair. And I know, like you can like take your jabs at Marvin Harrison Jr., but he was no doubt about it their top wide receiver. What the receivers in this game have to do is just play complementary roles to Trey McBride.
Yeah.
Trey McBride is going to command just all the focus of the 49ers defense. Can the complementary pieces, the supplemental pieces from Michael Wilson, who's de facto wide receiver 1, to Greg Dortch, to Xavier Weaver if he gets his chances, and Andre Bocellia, just find some open grass and make the plays when they come your way. Because if you can do that, I think that the Cardinals offense should be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
But if they don't, if Jacoby Brissett's put in the general vicinity and it's just like they don't come down with it ever, it's going to be tough sledding for this offense.
Let's jump into our next topic because I think it parlays off of that. I think the winning team today is going to be the team that establishes either line of scrimmage. And if you watched this game last week in Seattle, prayers up for people subjected to that garbage. The Cardinals got their ass kicked on both lines of scrimmage a week ago. The Niners are not the Seattle Seahawks. Thank goodness for that. But they have a lot of pride in that organization. Robert Saleh with sticks and spit is going to come out here and throw everything at Drew Petzing. I want to focus more so on the defensive line, but I think it's worth saying, like, Drew Petzing, if this is his last stand, like, he needs to make the most of it. It cannot look dejected and completely, reprehensible from a pass protection standpoint. On the flip side, the Cardinals, against a very vanilla run game for Seattle, got beat up and down the field. They got everybody today. Darius, Walter Nolan, Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Sweaty J, Jordan Birch, right? B.J. Ojulari, which we're going to touch on. Yeah, no Baron Browning, but this is the front seven that you chose.
Yeah.
You're going to go up against an offensive line for San Francisco that's fine. Like, Trent Williams is not his old self.
Mm-hmm.
And then Brock Purdy can run into sacks. You can force him into INTs. Like, I would rather face Brock Purdy off an injury cold like this than Mac Jones, who can sit there and get the ball out quickly. So it is a huge detriment. Like, the biggest reason I think why Jonathan Gannon could be on the hot seat after this game, if the Cardinals defense continues to look atrocious like it did last week.
Yeah, I mean, you just those non-competitive performances, you can't have them.
Right.
In this kind of when you're in survival mode, when you're on the ultimate hot seat, you're going to have it look more like the Dallas game. And I know it's completely night and day offensive lines that you're going up against, even though we were giving a ton of flowers to Clayton Adams before that game and for his performance and his offensive line's performance this season. But the Cardinals were able to make Dak Prescott's life living hell.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rollis need to make Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy really regret that this was the game that they put Purdy back out there.
Right.
Like we've seen with Purdy, we've seen him enough that if you put enough pressure on him, hell, last year in Santa Clara, you put enough pressure, he's going to make mistakes. He's going to get balls batted down, and the ball's going to be, right there for Kazir White at the time to pick off, and he's going to make turnover-worthy plays.
Right.
Can you do that? Can you generate enough of those? Can you come off of the ass whooping that Baldy called it on Wednesday? Can you come off that ass kicking and put forth another solid performance, if not, something that rivals Dallas?
Yeah. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has owned you. You cannot let him get into a rhythm where it's like vintage 2023,
and that's
2024.
where you miss Mac Wilson. Like, as much as we're like, hey, we need to see the youngsters, it's now about developing Cody Simon. Can Cody Simon put something, 75, 80% close to what we saw from Mac Wilson, who did a really good job in kind of absolving Christian McCaffrey big plays?
Absolutely. That was our next topic here on the Bird Gang Blitz, is mitigating that loss of – no, you're fine. Mac Wilson Sr. I want to pivot off this quickly because I missed this. I want to talk about B.J. Ojulari's return instead here because I think Cody Simon, I think the more Cody Simon plays, the better he's going to be. I don't think he's going to equal Mac Wilson Sr. by the end of this year, but let me see Cody Simon for 8 games. And I think you're going to see a better product every week. B.J. Ojulari activated, Bo, off of PUP over the weekend, is going to play in this game. He missed all of last year. He was a second-round pick out of LSU. I think it's kind of a very appropriate and maybe, not random time, but very appropriate time for him to enter the lineup with Baron Browning now exiting. I think Jordan Birch, fine against the run, hasn't given you any juice rushing the passer yet. B.J. Ojulari, do you think we could see him on some third downs today?
Are they going to trust him on money downs right away?
I don't know. He's been in this scheme for 2 years, though.
He's kind of. It's been 678 days since he's played football. I mean, he hasn't played competitive football since his rookie season in the 2023 year. I mean, I know there were huge expectations for him going in to the 2024 year, and that unfortunate, 3 ligament tear happened in training camp that's kept him out all the way now. But I think like his way back, you're going to have to kind of curb your expectations, ease your expectations as far as B.J. Ojulari. If he impacts the game at all, I'll be cool with it.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Okay.
But, I think he's going to be a little bit better than we saw him, the first time coming off injury. I think that they made sure that B.J. was going to be in a really good spot to be up close to full football shape when he got back.
Big congrats and thank you to Desert Vultures celebrating 1 month of membership.
Yeah.
Want to see a competitive game plan? I think absolutely. I mean, the biggest conversation that we're going to have, that we've had for, I think, the better part of a week, is does Jonathan Gannon have the staff and, the wherewithal to be able to coach in this division? I think you can't potentially botch this situation with Kyler Murray or go through this embarrassing IR, back and forth with Jacoby Brissett. You can't have that happen while also being an embarrassment in the NFC West. And that gets us to our last topic here on the Bird Game Blitz, division damage. I think Jonathan Gannon's a good head coach. I know people are going to scoff at that. I think he has the buy-in from his players. I think he sets a good culture, right? But is he just not? Does he not have the goods to win in the NFC West? Because not everybody does. I think Cliff Kingsbury in the right situation might be able to be a head coach again someday, right? He had a very difficult time in this division. Steve Wilkes was eaten alive in the NFC West in 1 year. You are graded on a curve in this division because of McVay, Shanahan, and now Mike McDonald. Like, give the Seahawks credit. They were like, we have the infrastructure. Let's go get the number one DC in the NFL. That Baltimore had a tremendous defense that year, and they've carried it through. And John Schneider's you've got Hall of Fame level, and this is indisputable, Hall of Fame level GMs and head coaches. Schneider's going to the Hall of Fame. Kyle Shanahan could be going to the Hall of Fame. Sean McVay's going to the Hall of Fame. Les Snead could go to the Hall of Fame.
Yikes.
The Arizona Cardinals, what do you have to combat against that? You've got Monty Ossenford, who we like. We don't love. We like him. And you got Jonathan Gannon, and this is the unfortunate part for JG. Monty gets a lot of wins in the offseason, right? When only wins are being handed out. Jonathan Gannon then has to have actual wins during the season. That's why it's a much easier time to pivot off a head coach than a GM. I think for me to feel confident about JG, we love him as a person. He's been on this show. He has to win this game. And you have to feel good about the Cardinals entering this home stretch of like, okay, they're going to be competitive. Yeah. They're developing players. You can't look out of sorts today. I know some people are like, just give me a competitive game. I think he's got to win this game.
I agree. There's no moral victories any longer. Those are dead and gone. I mean, right now the Cardinals are the meme. The 3 menacing dragons and the one goofy ass looking dragon. Guess which one the Cardinals are. It's really unfortunate, and that's not what you expected, especially when you saw, the Cardinals the second year in a rebuild be competitive. But when you're starting to look at it, right, the tuxedos seem a little effed up now. It's like the division was down. The division was down. Like the Rams were dealing with this and that. Johnny was burying them, rightfully so at the time. The Niners were dealing with like Trent Williams out, McCaffrey out, this and that. And the Seahawks had a new coaching staff. And the Cardinals, they went 3-3 in that division after a winless, a defeated, start to the Gannon era. And that's where you kind of gave them the hall pass. But when you bookend it potentially with, 0 to 1 wins in this division, then people are going to say that's not good enough. Like there's enough data here. This is not a sample size. So you're right. This is the opportunity, and you have to do it. You have to win.
Jonathan Gannon knows he needs to win. Like, and again, like, is it all made worse by like the optics of the press conferences and the hoity-toity stuff they're doing with the injuries? I think so. Yeah. And then you couple in like Kyler Murray has his haters out there, his detractors, but a big segment of this population, this fan base, loves Kyler Murray. Yeah. Like, we're big Kyler Murray guys. And then that whole thing felt very kind of like gross how it was handled and how it's continued to be handled when we all feel like Kyler Murray's healthy enough to play. Mm-hmm. It's like you can't have all that plus a DeMercado national, incident. And then, oh, by the way, we're going to suck too. We're going to be beaten 35-0 against Seattle. You can't have those things. All that stuff is small until it becomes a part of a greater pile here. And that's what's happening, Jonathan Gannon, unfortunately.
It is. It really is.
It's unfortunate. Like the Kingsbury thing, like we snuffed that out at the end. There was some fraudulent talk by me and maybe some peers, but it's just like we knew. It's like this is enough. The time has come. I think the hardest part about this JG era right now is just like this seems like it's come out of left field this year. This is unraveled. They were 2-0. Mm-hmm. They weren't playing very well, but they were 2-0. They had every reason to believe, like, okay, at very least, they're going to be a 500 team. They're going to be competitive. I mean, they're an embarrassment right now. And when you're an embarrassment in year 3, I mean, there ain't excuses being had.
Right. Well, if you're going to be so against the grain, just like New England, and New England did it, the most against the grain way, but they won. They consistently won at the highest level. And it's like you don't even have a 500 record or anything that sniffs a 500 record to hang your hat on. So it's important that, we're not asking for full transparency in the press conference. I think what people will start to change, how they feel about this thing, and it's going to be a long road. Is you have to start having success on the field, and that's where I think it was the most. Not maybe sobering is the right word. It kind of just throttled us at the beginning of the season, where even the wins didn't look like wins. No. They barely clung on for dear life against 2 bad football teams, and the Saints and the Panthers, and they lost to a Titans team, which could be the most catastrophic. Might have been the fatal blow potentially before we even knew it. The Gannon era. You got to come back from somehow. You have to come back from that. And right now, like to use a like modern just analogy or whatever, Gannon's kind of like the running man. Like everybody's coming after him. The chances of his survival are slim.
Yeah. Let's get to our pregame picks, but first, I want to remind everybody, Game Day Threads brought to you by our friends at Rally House. We've got a Rally House Pat Tillman jersey hanging in here. We got a Rally House, of course, rivalry jersey. We're repping it all. The place for your game day needs. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm needing to hit a parlay I need air.
Are they
to
wearing
breathe.
black to their own funeral?
It's quite the choice. Let's get to it. This is actually boosted right now with our friends at Bet365. Shano, head of production, sent this to us early this morning. I don't like this. I love this. Plus 600 boosted, I think, from maybe plus 500, plus 550. Michael Wilson, anytime touchdown. We talked about how much we like Mike Willie today. Jacoby Brissett, 225 passing yards. He's done it in every game thus far this year. Trey McBride, over 60 yards. Hell, that might happen in the first half alone. Check it out with our friends at Bet365. You got to be 21 years and older. Deposit 5, get 200 in bonus bets when you place that $5 bet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more information.
Don't talk to me. I'm placing that bet right now.
Tremendous. I like a lot of Elijah Higgins today. I like a lot of Michael Wilson. Unfortunately, I like a lot of San Francisco defensive props because I like Robert Saleh. I think the biggest kind of sub-bullet to what we just talked about with JG is like, what is Drew Petzing going to look like against Robert Saleh with no players?
Right.
Like I don't want to hear about, they don't have Kyler, they don't have James Conner, they have Marv. Like what's Robert Saleh's got? Nobody. He's got no Fred Warner, he's got no Nick Bosa, he's got no Mykel Williams, right? Multiple defensive backs. I think their number one corner's out. Like they got nobody. But here's what they got. They got a scheme and they got a defensive coordinator that everybody believes in. So I saw it in Santa Clara. I saw it for too long when Saleh was kicking ass and taking names the first go around. I mean, Drew Petzing versus Robert Saleh, not a fair fight, Bo.
No, it hasn't been. So Petzing's going to have to, talk about somebody who's got an uphill climb as far as saving face and maybe earning a little bit more faith from the fan base and maybe the organization. I mean, it's Drew Petzing. He's going to have to, find some success against this Niners defense that its performance doesn't match the personnel out there, and that's an elevation of coaching from Saleh. So can you win that match enough today at home to where this Cardinals team can win a football game? Because that's the path forward here for this regime currently. Find a way to win.
Let's take a look at your Super Chats, Brian. And then I think this is spot on. I agree with this 100%. $5. If Beachum looks good, fire everyone who's stuck with Jacoby. More evidence our staff doesn't know what we're doing. I'll reserve judgment for now. I 100% agree with this. I think it's a huge indictment of them. When how can you be worse than Jonah Williams is what I want to know. Also, guys, we watched Kelvin Beachum play for this team the last couple of years. He's a serviceable player. Jonah Williams is not a startable player this year.
It's a great point by BP there. Hit that like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Our climb towards 50K continues. Chaz, 199. BJ took the bus. He's got fire in his gut. Got to see it. Let's see BJ Ojulari get out there and say, I'm going to, even though it's not my fault, people were like, what the hell is taking so long? Let me kind of announce my presence with authority.
BJ revenge game. You'd love to see that. Revenge against his injury timeline. And listen, BJ Ojulari, to me, put together 2 months of good tape, comes in next year on a contract year. We've seen a lot of guys have great his brother, Azeez Ojulari, Hassan Reddick. I think, one of the bright spots for this team has been Josh Sweat. Maybe you get something from BJ Ojulari here down the stretch. You're going to get us live for the entirety of 49ers at Cardinals. The watch-alongs continue because you asked for them. You guys have been crushing it. We've been very, very humbled by the output. We appreciate all of that. Hail Geezer, $5. Bad things happen to bad teams. John Madden. There's a lot of truth to that. You make your own luck in the NFL. Absolutely. That's why injuries be damned. What's that?
Did he say that? He followed up with a boom.
Yeah, that's right. Hit that
no,
like
he doesn't
button.
even know who John Madden is.
He doesn't. He's a Gen Z.
What do you mean?
You know John Madden?
Yeah.
All right.
What do you? You think I'm stupid?
I thought you were born yesterday. That's what I thought.
Those are the kind of vibes you're going to get on our watch along.
First hate watch of the season, everybody. Lock in. It's coming. Within minutes, we're going to be live. We're going to be chopping on some delicious wings and watching this game. Let's go. Subscribe for Johnny and Noah, who knows who John Madden is. Stupid. Enjoy the next few minutes because we're going to be live for the whole game. Can't wait. Join us here on the stream here on YouTube. Talk to you then.
Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.